Hello and happy Monday or Tuesday, depending what part of the world you are in. Happy to have you guys. Do me a favor, use that Q&A box. Let's stay connected through there. Love to hear who is on and where you're from. I'm Nick from Dallas today. So spent the whole day with Rod working on everything that we need for 3.0. So we've been in meetings since as early as I can remember. And then we're going to do it all again tomorrow. So hit me up in the Q&A. Who's on tonight? Where are you hitting me from? Happy to have you. Give me the news. Give me the goods. Who do I got out there? Welcome, Florida. I can see you all in the participants, but I'd love to hear where you're logging in from. Feel free to hit me in that Q&A box. What's up, Milwaukee? How's it going, Dan? How's it going, Joyce from Ohio?
Hey, Nick.
How's it going, Ron from Utah? Mr. Mike in Vietnam, hello from the future. British Columbia, Tennessee, welcome, Martin. Welcome, Mary. All right, if you missed anybody from your team or any of your influencers, affiliates, leadership, teammates, community, ping them. Ron, any desire here to open up, or you want to wrap up towards the end?
It's better if I say it up front. I'm just really excited what we're doing right now. I think a lot of people don't know all the work that's going on behind the scenes right now. What's that to me or to Rod? I'm so sorry.
No, Ron, keep going. Yeah, you're good.
Okay, sorry. If that was for Rod, I apologize.
No, you're good.
But anyhow, I'm just excited with the things we're working on, guys, for the future. This was a big lift. We all knew that. But now we have the intel, we have the knowledge, we have the know-how and the doing right now. Just fun to be involved, folks. So just pay close attention. Might want to take a second, text your key people, make sure they're on to listen to Nick tonight. Nick, appreciate working with you, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you, partner. Okay, gang, I'm going to get off and get running here. So to all of you guys that have made yourselves available tonight, thank you so much. As you guys know, each week we do a piece of content, whether it be mindset or skill set or leadership. It varies each week. And we also talk to you guys about, staying the course in the current environment. What is that course? The course for you currently should not really aggressively be going after vendors, but it should be building a team and playing the multiplication effect when 3.0 hits, that you're turning one person into 10, 10 into 30, 30 into 100, 100 into 200, right? But if you walk in with 0, you get no multiplication effect. So how many will you walk into when we move forward into the full launch of Shoply 3.0? And I'm going to talk a little bit about that towards the end of tonight, because I know we'll gather people in the meantime. So I'm going to go right into tonight's content training. For those of you guys that are familiar with kind of my core philosophy is your mindset plus your skill set times your leadership equals your success in life. Tonight, we're going to focus on a little bit of mindset. Last week, we did skill set. We talked about personal brand building. We talked about how to utilize and leverage AI. We did real-time examples and we put it right to work. I hope some of you guys went and did this yourself. I'd love to see in the chat box or Q&A, how many of you guys took the lessons I gave you on personal brand and AI, put it to work, and then made a content plan for you to go out there and make your posts off a content plan. I'd love to see if anyone's actually implementing the information that they're hearing. In the meantime, let's dive into this week's content. I want to talk to you guys tonight about emotion. Emotion is an absolute multiplier, right? Information isn't enough. Action isn't enough. Intelligence isn't enough. I could go on and on and on in the list. All of these things are significantly influenced negatively or positively by emotion, because emotion is a multiplier. You know, we know so many people that are brilliant in school, brilliant in book smarts. They got all these initials after their name, but still aren't successful because a lot of them lack the emotional intelligence it takes to become successful. So I've got a little personal saying that comes to, emotional awareness. And emotional awareness is obviously being aware of your own personal emotions. And to me, it's expect, accept, reset. Expect, accept, reset. So what does expect? Expect means be prepared that stuff is going to happen. Now, there's a difference between attracting negativity. This is why I want to be careful how I say this. You can't wake up every day going, bad stuff's going to happen, bad stuff's going to happen, bad stuff's going to happen. But you should be prepared that anything can happen at any time, good or bad. And if something happens that is bad or negative or slows you down or is a roadblock or gets in your way, you shouldn't be outrageously surprised. I think when you look at the opposite context of this, I don't want you to attract bad things because you're just thinking about bad. I just want you not to be surprised that there's a roadblock. I don't want you to be surprised that you're driving your car and there's a pothole. Like if you were driving your car and there was a pothole, you'd probably just go, oh, pothole. I expect that. Lots of potholes in Miami. It's the people who get so wildly surprised that something happened that was out of the ordinary and maybe doesn't have a positive context. Those are the people that get blown off track by miles and can barely recover because they're just not wired to expect that anything can happen. Number two, accept. What do you mean by accept? Some people take hours, days, or weeks to accept the fact that something happened that might be considered an issue, a challenge, a problem, negative, bad, whatever. And the longer it takes you to accept that something happened that isn't a positive thing, the faster you can get past it to get back to the positive stuff. But you have to expect that anything can happen, accept when something happens that is a challenge or a problem, say, okay, I get it, let's do it. And then number three, reset. How do you get back on track? Reset, back to focus, back to solutions, back to action. So that little saying again is expect, accept, and reset. One of the most powerful quotes I've ever learned was from Tony Robbins. I was probably 21, 22 years old, over half my life ago, which is focus on what you can control, not what you can't control. Focus on what you can control, not what you can't control. Focus on what you can control, not what you can't control. One of the greatest gifts to humanity that has brought us all closer together is social media. One of the greatest destroyers of humanity has been social media. And I'll use this reference of what do you mean, Nick, one of the greatest destroyers? Well, you can influence people's focus 24/7 now with any message you want to. And they will be so far off track from what they can control. And the easiest one to point out is politics. Just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what state, it doesn't matter what party, it doesn't matter what belief. Social media has created a way to get you so off focus of what you can control. So off focus of what you can control. Do you know what I know that I can control? My actions, my work ethic, my thoughts, my ideas, my growth, my leadership. Do you know what I can't control? Politics. Can't control any of it. Unless I choose to dedicate 1000% of every waking hour and moment to influence that outcome as a politician, which I have not chosen to do. I've chosen to be an entrepreneur. So therefore, I focus on what I can control. I don't lose minutes, hours, days, weeks, years because someone somewhere in a place that gives no thoughts about my family, my success, and what I'm trying to do, I'm never going to meet the people, hang out with them, or whatever. I don't lose any sleep over politics. I don't care because I can't control it. I can't control the weather. I can't control the tax man. I can't control blah, 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 blah. I can make a list of 1,000 things. And this is a very difficult conversation to have with people because focusing on things you cannot control allows you to give up power, responsibility, and accountability. And people don't want power, responsibility, and accountability. When I say power, I mean personal power. I don't mean like power over people. I mean your personal power. Because the moment we give up personal power, responsibility, and accountability, now we get to blame. Therefore, it can always be someone else's fault, something else's fault. My ex-wife's fault, the weather's fault, the political system's fault, my boss's fault, my coworker's fault, my parents' fault. I meet people in their 50s still blaming their parents for stuff. Like, you're a grandparent, bro. Grow up. Take responsibility, take ownership. Focus on what you can control, not what you can't control. What's the list of things you can control? That one quote changed my life forever. Shout out Tony Robbins. Because when I heard that from him, I was like, oh my God, he's right. All of the negative energy that all of us put into things we can't control, wasted. And I bet you on our deathbed, we would give up anything to have all that time back that we wasted on things that we couldn't control. Like, here's some context for you. All of the negative energy that's been put into politics from everybody over the last 10 years, on your deathbed, what would you give to have all of that time, energy, effort back for an extra 2 days, 1 week, 10 days, 14 days of positive energy, effort, and conversation? Put that into perspective. Okay, I want to talk to you guys about emotional state or state of emotion. What's your state? That's a very Tony Robbins thing to say, right? What's your state? What's your state? What does he mean by it? He means your state of emotion, your emotional state. How do you shift, control, or trigger change in a state of emotion? Well, one quote that's been in sales forever is motion creates emotion. Motion creates emotion. Motion creates emotion. Movement creates emotion. Right? But I'm going to go through, guys, literally what I do over 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 day. I got a theory. There's things that should bother you for 1 minute. There's things that should bother you for 1 hour, and there's things that should bother you for 1 day. But I meet people say this, I had a terrible year. A year? A year? The whole year? 365 days of terrible, 24/7 of terrible, every second, like you got to try real hard to hate life to have a bad year. You got to try real hard to not want to master your emotional state to have a bad year. I'm going to give you guys my personal tricks. Here's my personal life hacks. Hey, you got low energy? The little things, right? The little things, the little things, the little things. Some of y'all let the little things bother you all day. Some of you guys let the little things bother you for weeks. Some of you guys are still mad about somebody who commented on one of your posts 4 days ago and you didn't like their snarky little comment, and you're still talking to your friends group about the snarky little comment that somebody made on your Facebook post 4 days ago. Who cares? Like, really? Who cares? So the little things. Low energy. You need a vibe change. You're stagnant. You had a bad phone call or a bad meeting. Not even bad, but just like, I didn't like that call. You got some annoying news. Not sad, not heartbreaking, just annoying news. You got rejected. You made a sales call. You did a presentation. You're feeling a little bit stressed. You're feeling a little bit overwhelmed. In 1 minute or less, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 things that I use as personal strategies to shift myself out of low energy, stagnant, bad vibe. Number one is something physical. I'll just start jumping up in the air. I put jumping jacks, but I don't really do jumping jacks. I'll just start jumping, literally up in the air. I'll do push-ups. I'll turn on a high energy song. I'll just yell something. I'll yell something a couple times. I'll start giving some people in the room high fives and hugs just to shift the energy. I'll go connect with my kids for a couple minutes. I'll go walk out on the balcony for a minute. I'll literally jog around the room. I'll sit there, close my eyes, and I'll take several deep breaths. I'll close my eyes and I'll list 20 things that I'm grateful for. I'll open up my notepad and I'll type 10 things that I'm grateful for. Or I might say my personal values, my I ams. I am passionate. I'm on purpose. I am a leader, etc., etc., etc. Now, this may sound dumb, silly, cheesy, or stupid, because I'm telling you, these are things I personally use that have made me a decamillionaire by the time I was in my mid-30s. Well, a lot of folks didn't. And I'm telling you, it's because they don't have control over their personal emotions. They let something influence their hour, their day, or their week. That's little. Like little. Instead of just snapping out of it. All right, let's go to another one. Let's say you're in your feels a little bit. Somebody got to you. You're a little sad. You're a little PO'd. A little bit angry. Right? So it's beyond it's beyond like I'm annoyed. It's beyond like I'm tired. It's like I'm pissed off, I'm sad, I'm triggered. Maybe you had multiple confrontations. Maybe you sense that you're responding negative to everything that's being said. Maybe you got really bad news. Maybe you lost an important deal. Maybe you're in a personal life drama. The average person, they're going to let those things ruin the month. I got bad news. The month is gone. I lost the deal. The month is gone. I'm mad. The week is gone. I'm sad. The month is gone. Here's what I do. If any of those things have happened to me or I'm emotionally in one of those states, I might go take a walk. I might go walk a couple miles. I might turn on a specific playlist that's called my gratitude playlist and just crank it full blast. I might do a very deep visualization of all the things that I want to do, achieve, contribute, be, have, go, see, experience, do. Maybe some of you guys will do a deep meditation. Maybe some of you guys go for a run. I love to paddleboard. I know that's an hour. How about a workout? Tune everybody out. Put some good music in. Maybe you go to the spa. Maybe you drive somewhere away from your office that as an inspirational environment. Maybe it's where the waves crash. Maybe it's maybe it's somewhere just outside of the city where there's some forest, or I don't know. Maybe you go watch a sunset. I know no matter what happens in a day, I catch a sunset, life is good. Maybe you go do a journal session. Right? And by the way, guys, feel free to use the Q&A box to participate here. Which ones do you use when you're in your feels, or maybe when you're just a little bit triggered, right? Because we're making our way through two different lists here. Hey, you're stagnant. You got to be able to shift out of that in a minute. You got some annoying news. You got to shift out of that in a minute. You're feeling overwhelmed. You got to stressed out. You got to shift out of that in a minute. Or you're in your feelings for sure. Mad, pissed off, triggered, multiple negative news, bad news, lost the deal. You cannot lose a week. You cannot lose a month because of these things. What are your strategies? Or what strategies do you like that you can take from me here, that you can put to work for yourself to make sure that you're constantly back on track, focus on what I can control, focus on what I can control, focus on what I can control, not what you can't control. And then one entire day, crisis resolution. So I'll kind of repeat it as 1 minute to 3 minutes. The little things are on your mind. You got you off track. 1 hour to 3 hours. You're really deep in your emotions. 1 day to 3 days. You got a crisis. What's a crisis? A failing business, a death, a career move, a breakup, any major life decision that you have to make, something happening with your children. You can't lose a quarter. You can't lose half a year. You can't lose a year. You can't lose a year because you're incapable of shifting your emotional states. You can't lose several months because you're incapable through emotional awareness to get focused back on the things you can control. Guys, your life is going to pass you by and it's going to be gone. And you're going to look back and say, most of my life I was unhappy. And you were unhappy because you chose to be. Or most of my life was blah. It was vanilla. It was stagnant because you chose it to be. And the people that are most of my life is happy, guys, it doesn't have anything to do. What we're talking about right now has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with financial success. It has nothing to do with, a little bit to do with business and entrepreneurship when applied there. But there's some of you here right now today on this Zoom who are happy all the time. Why? Because only amazing, beautiful, special, exciting, wonderful things happen to you, and all the bad stuff happens to the other guy, right? No, because you're a person who has emotional awareness. You choose to not focus on the bad, the sad, the negative, the this, the drama, the gossip, the BS, the politics. You choose not to focus on that. You choose to focus on things that make you happy. And when you have crisis, you can't lose a year. Couple days. Here's what I personally do. There's a couple places that I go that I have the highest level of spiritual connection for me. One of them is Tower 12, Huntington Beach, California. One of them is right here, which is Bixby Bridge, or this is Rocky Creek Bridge. Bixby Bridge is around the corner. This is in Big Sur, California. This is Imogen Pass and Telluride. And you all have places that you feel the most peaceful, the most connection, the highest energy, the most clarity, the most spiritual, the most connected to God, the highest vibe, the most clarity, whatever words you want to use. I'm trying to do my best to talk to every demographic. When something happens and you're searching, get in the car and go. Get in the plane and go. Well, Nick, I can't just go get in a plane and fly to da-da-da. Okay, then lose the year because you're so emotionally, tragically shifted and you can't take the time to go spend 2 days at the most important place to you of connection to search for answers and peace. Lose the year. To me, that the opportunity cost of that is insane. It's outrageous. And I don't think it's viable. Like, you guys are all amazing people. You have big dreams. You have big hearts. You have big goals. But are you exercising the right emotional awareness? Zach Brown just, I was just asked a question. I won't, sorry, I did say your name, apologize. He said, how do you do this with kids at home and a wife? Well, does the decision have to be with your wife, or is it a decision for you? Because if you have a good relationship with your spouse, you would say, babe, I can't let this thing tear my heart apart for many more months and keep me down, sad, angry. Like, obviously this depends what the thing is. I have to go get some peace. I'm going here. You know why. You know I need this place. You know why I love this place. I'll be back in 48 hours and I will be back a better man, a better husband, and a better father. Because I believe your children probably want you to be the happiest. I believe you're a better parent when you're happier. I believe you're a better spouse when you're happier. So for me, I'm not willing to trade days or weeks. And again, we're talking about crisis management here on this one. This one is crisis management. If your dog died, you can't go retreat to the hills with the monks to find yourself. Like, you got to grow up. I know you love your dog, but you got like things to do in your life. Crisis resolution I don't know how many crises happen per year. Like, in a year, true crisis. Like, is it one, maybe two? Maybe. And it really depends how you define a crisis. Because what most people would call a crisis, I might say, is a 1 hour resolving thing. But if you truly have a crisis or a major life decision, and that decision or that piece is making or breaking your soul, your actions, your focus, the way you show up, and your results, and most importantly, your happiness, then yeah, you need to go take 2 days to get happy. And again, the hardest thing about what we're talking about, like the absolute hardest thing about this conversation, most people do not want happiness. They say they do. Let me say it again. They don't truly want the responsibility of being in charge of their own happiness. Let me say that. Everyone says they want success. Everyone says they want to be happy. Everyone says they want, but when it comes to the responsibility of the ownership of the control over it, most people don't want it. Because the moment you accept responsibility and ownership over your own success, your own decisions, and your own happiness, it means no one else can be to blame. And when no one else can be to blame, that means it's on you as the individual. And that's a tough pill to swallow, man, because when it's not working, we don't want to point at ourselves. But how serious are you as an individual about getting more out of life? Just like there's just different ways to say the same thing I'm saying. But how serious are you about getting more out of life? And, Tito, I'm glad you brought up contrast, because when I use the scenario of thinking about the end of your life, that's a contrast, right? It's like, okay, we're thinking about the now, but let's think about the contrast of this. When you look back on your life, will you have regretted all of the energy, effort, time, emotion that you put into, check this out, will you resent it? Will you regret it? Will you sit there and go, I can't believe I let 10% of my life, 20% of my life, a third of my life, half my life go towards thoughts, conversations, people, energy of things I never wanted? When every moment, not every day, but every moment, every what? Moment, every what? Moment. Every moment you can decide where to focus. You can decide to focus on what you want most or what you don't want. You decide that. No one else decides that for you. Your leader doesn't decide it for you. I don't decide it for you. The president doesn't decide it for you. The governor doesn't decide it for you. Your boss doesn't decide it for you. Your neighbor doesn't decide it for you. Your daddy doesn't decide it for you. Your brother doesn't decide it for you. Your former best friend doesn't decide it. Your ex-husband doesn't decide it for you. You do. You decide right here as you stand here right now in this moment, in this second that we're communicating. Your next decision you make either brings you closer, and let me say this again, your next thought brings you closer to what you want or what you don't want. Life is that simple. I know this is a difficult topic to talk about. I knew that coming into it. It is also one of the most important mindset topics we could ever discuss. I hope you guys received it in the way in which I'm delivering it, because normally with a topic like this, it'd be I'd want you to opt into it, like, hey, hit me straight, brother. But if you stayed on the line today, I guess you did opt in. You could have hopped off in the first 5 minutes. But my intention behind this is simple. I want you to be happier. I want you to get more out of life, and I want you to be more successful. That's it. I didn't get anything out of, tonight in this exchange in this moment. Like I'm not your boss. I can't even see you guys. I can't even see your reactions. There's no standing applause. There's no, I got to thank you in the chat box. I only want for you guys, when I deliver truth like this, to receive it in a way that you can win, grow, succeed, be happier, have a better life. Next Monday, we're going to have a very important conversation. Next Monday, you're going to want anybody who is currently enrolled in your Shopley community, who wants a State of the Union update. We want them to be on next Monday. All of the executives will be on. We're going to be covering all of the buckets in which the company is focused on working on and making improvements on. We're going to launch a really important timeline that we've been referencing as hypothetical, but we're going to get granular with that timeline. And if you've been waiting for a time to go back to a group of people to say, hey, you're going to want to plug in to get some updates, it's going to be Monday. Now, for reference, we're not rolling out or launching anything on Monday. We're going to be revealing to you everything that we're working on in the buckets that we're working on them and the timeline at which that can be expected. Trying to re-explain that to people sometimes is difficult. So I'm calling all cars, full press, to get anybody of the past rounded back up onto next week's strategy session. Ron, I saw you click in a second ago. I'm gonna click back to you for any closing thoughts. Guys, I appreciate your time tonight. Hopefully what you heard tonight touched your heart. More importantly, you'll put it into practice and you'll be successful with it. Ron, over to you.
Well, Nick, I've been around that conversation for a long time. That was beautiful, brother. That was a wonderful way to pour yourself into it and invest your heart into that as well. And it could be felt. That was all you, and I love that. I work with you a lot, so I get to see who you are. And that was Nick, folks. That's the guy who's our president. That's the guy who's done all the the billions in his past. He's here to help us. And a lot of people think, Nick, that we write it on a whiteboard like this. It's not how it operates. That whole minute, hour, day thing that you talked about, that's for real, because you're going to always encounter breakdowns, challenges, things that are going to confront yourself along the way. And you have a choice in those moments. And I love the topic tonight, Nick, so thank you. Next Monday night, guys, it's a big night. This is a night you want to really ring the bell and get everybody there and get everybody there to listen in, because we're going to make some cool announcements. You're going to see that we haven't been sitting on our hands. Just continue on that success trail that we've always been on. So with that, Nick, thank you. Thank you again. Folks, thanks for being on. We look forward to seeing you next Monday night. Anything else, Nick? You good?
See you Monday. Pack it out, y'all.
All right, guys.
Let's do it.